Once upon a time, there was a woman who couldn't have children. Her name was Manoah. She was very sad. One day an angel appeared to Manoah. The angel gave her amazing news. "You will have a son," the angel declared. "He will be a Nazirite." A Nazirite was a special servant of God. Nazirites had to follow certain rules. They couldn't cut their hair. They couldn't drink wine. This son would grow up to be very strong. He would save the Israelites from the Philistines. Manoah and her husband were overjoyed. They named their son Samson. Samson grew bigger and stronger every day. God was with him. One day, Samson was walking to the town of Timnah. He came face to face with a ferocious lion. The lion roared and prepared to attack, but Samson was fearless. He grabbed the lion with his bare hands. With the strength given to him by God, Samson tore the lion apart. He didn't even use a sword or a spear. The lion was defeated. Samson continued on his journey to Timnah. Later he passed by the same spot where he had fought the lion. He saw that bees had built a hive inside the lion's carcass. There was sweet honey inside. Samson scooped some of the honey into his hands. He ate the honey as he walked. It was delicious. When Samson arrived in Timnah, he met a Philistine woman. He decided to marry her. This made the Philistines angry. They were always fighting with the Israelites. During the wedding feast, Samson decided to have some fun. He told the Philistine guests a riddle. "Out of the eater came something to eat," he said, "and out of the strong came something sweet." The Philistines were stumped. They couldn't figure out the answer. They went to Samson's wife. "Trick your husband," they begged her. "Find out the answer to the riddle." Samson's wife gave in to their demands. She begged Samson to tell her the answer. Finally, he told her about the lion and the honey. Samson's wife immediately told the answer to the Philistines. They were victorious. Samson was furious. He knew his wife had betrayed him. Samson stormed out of the feast. He went down to a nearby Philistine town. He attacked the men there and took their clothes. He gave the clothes to the Philistines who had won his riddle. Then Samson went home to his father's house. He was angry and hurt. The Philistines had tricked him. His own wife had betrayed his trust. The Philistines were terrified of Samson. They knew they couldn't defeat him in a fair fight, so they came up with a plan to trick him. They sent a beautiful woman named Delilah to spy on Samson. Delilah pretended to be in love with him. "Samson, my love," Delilah cooed, "tell me the secret of your great strength." Samson refused at first, but Delilah was persistent. She begged and pleaded with him day and night. Finally, Samson gave in. "If you cut my hair," he whispered, "my strength will leave me." Delilah waited until Samson was asleep. Then she called for a Philistine soldier. She ordered the soldier to shave off Samson's long hair. With his hair gone, Samson was powerless. The Philistine soldiers grabbed him and tied him up with chains. The Philistines were overjoyed. They had finally captured Samson. They gouged out his eyes and threw him into prison. They made him grind grain like an animal. For many months, Samson toiled in the darkness. He was weak and defeated. But Samson never lost his faith in God. One day, the Philistines held a great festival in their temple. They brought Samson out of prison to entertain them. They laughed and mocked him. They thought he was harmless. But Samson had a plan. He asked God to give him strength one last time. Samson pushed against the pillars of the temple with all his might. The entire temple collapsed. Samson and thousands of Philistines were crushed beneath the rubble. Samson's story teaches us that even the strongest person can be brought down by their weaknesses. It also shows us that God can give us the strength to overcome any obstacle. But most importantly, it reminds us that we should always remain faithful to God, no matter how difficult our circumstances may be.